the Louie Bellina Show, and it is lunchtime. And lunchtime is thanks to Rudy's Barbecue, the home of the green chili stew, ribs. Oh, I love ribs. I do not discriminate, for the record. I love all ribs. People are like, oh, the Kansas City rib and the Texas ribs. Moist brisket, whole potatoes. If you don't go green chili stew, you get your whole potatoes. And they're like, do you want butter? And I just pause, go, is that a question? Like, why would you get the new potatoes, whatever, and not get butter? Seriously? I don't say that. I'm not that guy. But anyway, lunchtime on the Louie Bellina Show, Monday through Friday. Straight up 12 noon is thanks to Rudy's Barbecue. Here in our lunch hour, we're celebrating college football all day long throughout the entire day. It's not just Aggie football. It's all of college football. We're 100 days away from kickoff college football 2026. And Athlon on 3, you name it, it's been celebrating it. I'm in. ESPN, CBS, top stories, players, you name it, like on 3. Mario Craver was 33. What Marcus Ratcliffe was, I don't know, 52, 53, that everything. We're just randomly, but yet celebrating it throughout our day. I asked one question people have shared, and I'm going to go to the Texas Mobile and Lube Express inbox in about 90 seconds, but what got you into being a college football? How did you get hooked on college football? What got you in? You could text 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. Light up the Texas Mobile and Lube Express inbox. Texas Mobile and Lube Express, owned by Gabriel Garcia. First text message. LSU, Peruna in College Station. First hour, we talked a little LSU. Edo is back, and one half of me think it's delicious. It's glorious. Bring back more personality and color to college football. He's the special assistant for recruiting and defense. And again, his job will be to recruit, rip off a shirt, slam a Red Bull, and just run out of the room. And Peruna in College Station, LSU, the cradle of coaching villains. You know how some schools are running back you, quarterback you. Is there such a thing as evil coaches you? Because LSU, there's no second place. Jim in Temple said, I first heard of Ed O as an assistant at USC during the Reggie Bush days. And again, Ed O and Lane Kiffin go back to 2001 USC under Pete Carroll. Jim in Temple said, I believe the statement I heard then that he was the only assistant on staff who actually stopped and spoke with regular students there. He might have been looking for dates. I don't know. Whatever. Joe in College Station, they had a black bear in a cage on the sidelines. Oh, that was the end of it. I got to the finish line. Joe in College Station. Hey, Lou, my dad took me and my brother to a Baylor game at Kyle Field. To a Baylor game, I guess I should say, at Kyle Field. We sat in the horseshoe. It was the year that we were suspended from, television. Oh, yeah, I remember that. That was the year I got hooked on college football. They had a black bear in a cage on the sidelines. I don't know if the black bear would do it, but I get it. The atmosphere. Folks, in all my years of college football, and I've seen some incredible things. I mean, games, seasons, individuals. I was there for Johnny Manziel. And you could say about what he's become and his legacy tarnished. But if you were there for that season, that was pure magic. Pure magic. But my first game as a student is one of those moments. LSU comes into Kyle. Jackie Sherrill, we knew we were winning the national championship. Jackie was a motivator. Every year we knew we were going to win the national. We knew. But it was a night game, Kyle Field at night, my first game, the hype, the believe, and my student experience leading up to it had been nothing but glorious. And LSU upsets and the shock and the horror, but then your first experience at Kyle Field, an Aggie game. And there were fights on the track, there was fights on the field, there were fights on Northgate, and I'm just like, I love college football. I love Aggie football, and this is the greatest thing ever. I mean, I was hooked. It was so fantastic. Matt in College Station texted, Lou, yeah, you and Alan just took us back to the business class scene and back to school at Rodney Dangerfield. Good people, Rodney D. Tayag and Taylor, Oh, it's Tag. Keith Jackson on fall Saturday afternoons. Whoa, Nelly. We don't have many of the classics right now, do we? I think that Kirk Herbstreit is supposed to be our Keith Jackson for college football. But in the modern world, Keith Jackson is almost part of the establishment. He has to represent a position point of view. He has to be an ESPN apologist. And because he's having to take force positions, and he's an NFL guy too, he can't be Keith Jackson. And I think that's a problem because he's supposed to be our Keith Jackson, but he's not. You might say he is not. That'll be our two differing opinions on that. But there is no Keith Jackson right now. And, Keith Jackson wasn't the only legend. There's about 3, but you can't because you have to be. The way it works now is that Fox and ESPN has polarized. And yesterday I talked about how the conversation between 12, 16, and 24 is not a SEC Big Ten story. It's corporations fighting over $1 billion each. Because ESPN has the right to the first 14. So any expansion beyond 14 is Fox. And that's Fox and ESPN fighting, not the SEC Big Ten. And if you do games for Fox, you have to put out the stupidest things ever because you have to represent Fox in the Big Ten, even if you just work for them as play-by-play color or studio analyst. And the ESPN people get forced the same way too. You just got to say things and you don't even believe, but you have to represent the company. You've always represent the company you work for, but not like it is now. You're being paid for your tweets and you're being paid for your posts. Not every time, but it's more important to stay on, on the corporate mission. I don't know than to have a point of view. It's more important to have clicks and to the hits than it is to, I don't know, be the smartest guy in the room, to be right. So there is no Keith Jackson now, I believe. Dale in Tabor. What got me into college football? The Thanksgiving Day game. Nothing else like it. The Cowboys and the Lions? That's interesting. Eric texted, say, hey, Lou, Notre Dame. Okay. Notre Dame used to broadcast the games on Sunday. Cheers, Eric. Was it a tape delay thing? I mean, fair. Not familiar with that. Just to be fair. Let's see. Eric. Oh, okay. That covers the ones we had highlighted here. 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. You can light up the Texas Mobile One Lube Express inbox. Texas Mobile One Lube Express, owned by Gabriel Garcia. What got you? There's a billion things. We're celebrating college football. What's on your 100 for 100 days? Big game, key questions, anything on your college football mind. But really, we're celebrating college football. What got you hooked? How did college football get its hooks in you? What made you an addict to? 979-693-1150. I do want to share something. Not at all. Well, no, it happened at Kyle Field. So I guess technically I could say it's on the college football path. But there was an email that went out. And if you check your socials anytime soon, you're going to come across this today. But it was a summation economically of Banana Ball in College Station. Banana Ball by the numbers. And you might be like, oh, I'm so tired of banana. No. Listen to the numbers, please. This is the economic impact of the Banana Ball game in College Station. And something I pointed out, that Banana Ball wasn't a game. It wasn't just they showed up and left. They started Thursday with their first ever pop-up game in Navasota. Friday, they were in town. Some of them spoke at a local church. Saturday, they did a meet and greet, a quick signing thing at like a Dunkin' Donuts. It's one of the sponsors. Before the game ever happened on Saturday at Kyle, they did a takeover at Aggie Park that was insane. Absolutely insane for a Banana Ball exhibition, not real baseball game. The thing you've heard some people say. Like the photos, the view of that was incredible. That was just a rally, man. It was awesome. Here's Banana Ball in College Station by the numbers. that was released. The direct economic impact for College Station was $21 million. $21 million. The estimated lodging impact was $8 million. The estimated restaurant impact was $4,350,000. 102,000 Caulfield attendance. The overnight attendance, like how many people came in and stayed overnight? Who cares if it was Friday or Saturday, but was 35,000. And the gross revenue for Texas A&M, because A&M, Caulfield hosted. A&M is the one who's trying to get innovative. From the King at Kyle, they're going to have their second soccer exhibition coming up shortly here, right, with Argentina. A&M is the one bringing in these events. So College Station, that's all of us, man. That's our home. I see that restaurant impact. I celebrate. I see the lodging impact, hotels and Airbnbs, 8 mil. I celebrate. That's what we need. That's healthy for all of us. We live here. Texas A&M, they need to make money to keep doing this, so we all win. We're all in this together, right? A&M's gross revenue, $3.5 mil. Now, I wish, I really do, that someone could tell me if A&M projected 2.5, so this was a grand slam. If they projected 5, so that, oh no, we didn't hit our number. Like 3.5 to me is a lot of money. But then again, $100 is a lot of money to me too. So A&M released this, and if this is bad, depressing news to them, I wouldn't expect an email with these numbers. Like I believe this was shared as a celebration of the success it was. The more these things succeed, the more we will get. The more we will get, the more our town flourishes. And the more 3.5 mil that A&M is making in the off season, maybe your ticket price, they're always going to go up. Maybe not as fast, maybe not as much. And that 3.5 mil gross revenue, right, can just stem some of the financial tide, because A&M is going to compete at the highest tier, highest level. I think that's clear to everyone. At no point since A&M entered the SEC have they financially shied away from the SEC at all. For those of you who have not followed Aggie athletics for a long time, for those of you that have not, that was not a true statement for most of A&M history. A&M did not financially compete. That's a fact. So, in order to compete, seeing A&M do everything it needs to do besides just go begging encourages me. To see them do these kind of innovative King at Kyle, banana ball, whatever it takes, that's another sign of the progress. Because before, what would have happened is like the Savannah Bananas go, we want to set a world record for the highest attendance ever. And A&M would go, no, we've never had banana ball before. It's not a tradition. No, 102,000. We don't want to spend the energy in the workforce. That's the olden days. Now they're like, banana ball. Someone get a calculator. We can make, like an hour would make the decision. Yes. We live in different times and it's good. We live in different times and it's good. So one more time, just real quick. Banana ball in College Station by the numbers. College Station direct economic impact. Now, that says College Station. Does that count Bryan/Brazos Valley? Because if that's just College Station, well, there's a direct economic impact for Bryan and the surrounding. I'm sure not everybody stayed in College Station for this. But 21 mil, College Station direct economic impact. The lodging impact was 8 mil. This is estimated. Restaurant impact, 4.35 mil. Caulfield, 102,000. Overnight attendance. That's the number of people that stayed a night. 35K. And for Texas A&M, what was in it for them? $3.5 million was the gross revenue. So, sounds like it was a smashing, holy cow, amazing success to me. Don't know about you. So for those of you that couldn't stand the thought of a baseball game on Kyle Field, for those of you that were inconvenienced because it was more traffic than you wanted, I think it was worth the inconvenience for a day. And by every account, for everyone that was there, it was also just an incredible event for the family. It was an incredible day at Aggieland. And a lot of profit seems to have been made too. When we come back, we're going to go back to college football. 100 days till kickoff. More of your text messages. More of the Louie Bellina Show presented by CC Electric. Where CC Electric, they have free estimates, but also military and veteran discounts. Check it out. CC Electric. It's the Louie Bellina Show Thursday on The Zone.
You can get the podcasts of Texans Live, The Louie Bellina Show, or Chip Howard at zone1150.com, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
The Louie Bellina Show. We're just rolling along on a Thursday. The Louie Bellina Show. I'm inside the Charles Schwab studio on a Thursday. Support, if you decide to go with Mark Sim, right here in College Station. Support, he's the Charles Schwab branch. He's the branch in College Station. And you get the support. It's Charles Schwab and their years and years and years and years. And Mark Sim is Charles Schwab. And you get that modern approach to wealth management. They have the financial planning to meet your specific needs. Why'd you call them? I mean, or else you wouldn't go with them. Duh, right? But they, Mark Sim and Charles Schwab, have the flexibility to adapt as your needs are going to change with time. And they will. You have no idea. You're not the financial dude. But Mark Sim and all that Charles Schwab experience, been there, done that. They're ready. They've got your back. You don't have to worry. Learn more at schwab.com/College Station. College football, 100 days. That's it. We've made it. I'm sorry. You can make it from here. We'll do this together, okay? I promise. And we're just kind of celebrating it. The simplest question is, how did you end up a college football fan, man? What got you hooked? This text message rocks. Being in college at Oklahoma State and seeing every home game the year Barry Sanders won the Heisman Trophy. Yeah, that would do it. I 100% could understand that. That's awesome. Woo! That's pretty special. Text message starts not trying to be political, but then don't be political. Don't put the but in there. I'm one of those that doesn't work for me. Don't be offended, but don't ever, if you got to put the but in it, you're going there. Just don't. That's all. Don't. FedEx Sam texted and said, I remember growing up watching football with my dad, a local, and then he puts it in quotes, money exchange expert for over 40 years. Oh, that's good stuff. JT5150, favorite player as a kid was Ed Simonini, and that made him a college football fan, and he's never looked back in his love for college football. That's outstanding, man. Not going to kid you. I've been having fun. There's so many great stories in there. 979-693-1150. Watching every home game of Barry Sanders' Heisman Trophy year. That can do it. That can do it. So, top storylines for the upcoming season. You understand, they're not all epic. Like, I saw the Pac-12 relaunches. You know, they spent 2 years as a two-team conference. They raided the Mountain West or whatever. I got trivia for you. Did you know, did you realize, or do you even care? Every team in the Mountain West ends with state. Every team because it's Oregon State, Washington State, and they have welcomed Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State, Texas State, and Utah State. Gonzaga is basketball only. But we're living in a football world and we're celebrating 100 days till kickoff. So every Pac-12, this is the brand new, relaunched football school in the Pac-12 ends in state. Oregon State, Washington State. I already just said it. Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State, Texas State, and Utah State. There you go. Top storylines. Miami. I would argue that Miami has done really well transfer portal quarterbacks, whether it's Cam Ward. Carson Beck was good. Was he the best? No, but they did. Now, Darian Mensah? Is he the final cheat code to get them over the hump? Miami's got a great team. Miami has a great, great team. But I don't know. Cristobal, did he get over the hump personally? Because they had always been Cristobaling, but in the postseason, they didn't do it. Aggies know, we know, but they had a heck of a run. Does he finally have enough talent to stop the destructive behaviors he did? Be scared of Miami. Be scared of the Hurricanes. I saw one, Manning and Texas are loading up to win now. Fact. I mean, it's a storyline, sure. If the O-line can grade it a B- or higher, Texas will play for the national championship. I think it's pretty simple. If their O-line grades out as a B- or higher, they did everything else. I don't know if they fixed the O-line. You got no O-line, don't matter the talent behind it. I saw one, question. Remember, it's 100 and everything. I saw it for ESPN. I saw it for CBS. On3 did 100 players. Everyone's done something in honor of 100 days. And I believe it was ESPN 10 storylines. Their number one was, can the new king of college football stay on top? I'm going to say no. Because I feel like we live in a system in college football, a system that it's not meant for dynasties. When you have to use the portal, I don't know of a team that can win all natural. Everyone has to use the portal to a degree. Even if you're Georgia and they were a slow adapter and it hurt them, with the portal, I feel like you have no excuse in the world to have a hole. You have injuries, man. You're off season. You're devastated. Portal. And that's what the Blue Bloods need to realize. You don't say next man up because I have a 5-star. Forget development almost. You just go to the portal and fix every hole you have. Even if your portal class will be 7, which is tiny, right? You use it to not have a hole, not have a weakness, not have a question mark. And if you're Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, you should be able to pick and choose anyone you want in the portal because Ledger, your alumni base is so fanatical, they'll give you a $90 million roster if you need it. So every year we're changing the number of portals, the NIL rules, and we're changing the format of the college football playoff from 4 to 12 to, is it going to be 24? So that's why I think nobody could stay on top. We don't have a system. Every year there's something that's different. When we finally settle, if we ever reach peace in college football and the system, the format, the process, then we can have a dynasty again. But right now, how can you own or master this? There's no stability to it. That's why I think the Big Ten is a conference. They are the dynasty right now. Was it 3 straight? Yeah, Michigan to Ohio State to Indiana. So maybe maybe it's Ohio State's turn up again, but Indiana, the new king? No, I don't think so. I think it'll be the SEC's turn. We'll see. By the way, this has nothing to do with 100 days, but I saw this and a reminder of greatness. Did you know? You probably did, but did you remember? Steve Spurrier is the only coach in SEC history to be the winningest coach at 2 different schools. Yeah. Steve Spurrier. Because everyone knew him. He had a quick quip, joke. I mean, he was scathing. Nobody's done it better than him. Steve Spurrier is the only coach in SEC history to be the winningest coach at 2 different schools. And those 2 different schools, Florida and South Carolina. And Florida, they have a winning tradition. So that's the South Carolina. That's not the biggest deal, but still, that's him, Steve Spurrier. When we come back, I got to listen in for you. We're going to continue. Look, college football. Let's go. We made it. A listen-in, Greg McElroy, top 10 running backs for 2026. This is the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric, residential, commercial, industrial services. It's what they do at CC Electric. It's the Louie Bellina Show. Thursday on The Zone.
The Louie Bellini Show. Dial 979-693-1150. Hello. To visit with him. Hello. Or to win. Hello. On the D4 Land Services Hotline. Dial 979-693-1150.
It is the Louie Bellini Show presented by CC Electric, built on faith, family, community. It is the Louie Bellini Show on a Thursday. Time now. I got to listen in for you. Greg McElroy, he talks ball, and that's why I just love listening to him, period. I listen to him at my desk because I'm like prepping. I listen on the desk as I'm working in the afternoons, and he's doing this series, Top 10, and it's by position for the upcoming season. We've heard quarterback, we heard wide receiver. Now it's time for the top 10 running backs for 2026. Greg McElroy, a listen in from his Always College Football podcast.
Now let's get to the top 10, where it starts to really get interesting. We will kick things off at number 10 with Antoine Raymond from Rutgers. He's a young man that went for nearly 1,300 yards last year and 12 touchdowns. He also was pretty dang good as a receiver, where he added 18 receptions for 225. This is a guy that really does a great job of making you miss. He's very difficult in the open field. He's tough to get down to the ground. And oftentimes the first guy to arrive is not often the guy that makes the play. He's probably one of the best running backs in the Big Ten that nobody's really talking about. All you got to do is just watch him. Now, you look at the speed, you look at the size, all that stuff, it's not going to jump off the page to you. But the production and how difficult is he to get to the ground? He's really good with his vision. He's very elusive, and he made a bunch of guys miss last year. So with Kyle Monangai now leaving, last couple of years, Raymond stepped in and has posted one of the more high-volume rushing attacks that we've seen in Rutgers' single-season program history. And Greg Schiano, he's kind of building something here at Rutgers. And Raymond, alongside the receiver KJ Duff, who's amazing, he's kind of the engine that could very much allow this young man to get going. And if he got the national spotlight every week, I think people would realize just how good this young man is, because he's probably the most underexposed top-end back in the entire Power Four. But we told you here, this guy can play. That's why he's in at number 10. At number 9, it's Cam Cook from West Virginia. Now, at Jacksonville State last year, he went for over 1,650 yards. He led the FBS in rushing. 16 touchdowns, also contributed 30 catches as well. He forced a lot of missed tackles as well. He was the Conference USA Player of the Year, had nearly 2,000 yards from scrimmage. He led the FBS in that category as well. So the counter argument right now is that it's the G5, and I want y'all to hear that. All right, Cam Cook started his career at TCU. So he's been around Power 4 football for a long time. Goes to Jack State, leads the country in scrimmage yards, and forced 100 missed tackles in the process. Now he's back in the Big 12 at West Virginia. And if there's one thing we know is that Rich Rodriguez, the head coach, he wants to run the football. And he needs a dynamic, space-eating back that can handle 20 or 25 carries a game and contribute as a pass catcher out of the backfield. Well, that is Cam Cook's resume right there. If you look at what he is, this is the number 9 running back in the country. Some people think he's a top 10 player in the country, regardless of position. And all he is maybe one dominant performance against Big 12 competition for everyone to get on board and acknowledge just how good this young man might be. At number 8, it's Isaac Brown from Louisville. Now, in 2024, he was sensational. He was the ACC Rookie of the Year. He was a little bit banged up last year, had just 100 carries, but on those 100 carries, he had 884 yards, 8.8 yards per carry, while having very limited time. So that number by itself might just end the argument, right? The only way you average 8.8 yards per carry while playing at less than 100% certainly tells you you're one of the better backs in college football. Now, he entered the transfer portal for a moment. There was a lot of interest. It sounded like Texas was in the mix. Ole Miss might have been in the mix. Well, within 72 hours, he decides to withdraw from the portal, stays at Louisville, and he said, look, it's not always about the money. He is fully healthy in spring. It's probably the best he's looked in a couple years. He's got a new quarterback, Lincoln Kienholz, who adds a little bit of mobility to the room as well, which might open a few more holes for Brown. And if you look at the opportunities that sit right in front of him, I mean, Louisville opens the season in 26 at a neutral site against Ole Miss, which means in week 1, in prime time on Sunday night, it's a head-to-head collision between one of the top backs in the country for Ole Miss, who we'll get to in a moment, and a guy that we currently have at number 8. I think Isaac Brown will be ready. At full health, this is a guy that could flirt with 1,400 yards in the ACC. At number 7, it's Nate Frazier for the Georgia Bulldogs. And look at the stats. They're not going to blow you away. Had 950 yards last year, but he had only 155 carries. Now, this offseason, a lot of people were going after Nate Frazier. A lot of people, because he's got a lot of juice. He's got a lot of explosiveness. He said no to all the other outside opportunities. He said, I want to stay and finish and be the unquestioned bell cow at one of the more prestigious programs in the entire country under a coach in Kirby Smart, who's going to lean heavily on the run game. That's what they've done in the past. There's a lot of question marks surrounding the receiving core, but the offensive line, the run game, the quarterback position, and Gunnar Stockton, you know they're going to try to establish the run. Defense is going to have to load the box against Georgia this year. And Frazier, he's probably going to have to make some guys miss, but he's always done that. His rushing grade is elite, and maybe at times in the past, as a young player, there were some ball security issues. That wasn't as much of an issue last year. He was one of the highest graded backs in the entire country last year, and that was as a sophomore. Now he enters in as a third-year junior, and things are looking really, really good. This is a guy, I think, with as high a ceiling as anyone that we'll reference, so I wouldn't be surprised if we revisited this list at the end of the year, and Nate Frazier is much higher than where we have him right now at number 7. At number 6, it's Caleb Hawkins from Oklahoma State. And we have to go back last year and we have to watch his performance at North Texas, where he had over 200 carries and over 1,400 yards, averaging 7 yards per clip. 25 touchdowns, led the FBS last year. But he also, in Eric Morris's offense, you know you have to be a pass catcher in that offense as well. He had 32 receptions for 370 yards and 4 receiving touchdowns as well. This guy was a true freshman last year. This guy was highly graded across the board. He led the FBS in touchdowns. He averaged 7 yards a carry, catching 32 passes. The only knock against this young man was the level of competition that he faced last year. I think you look at the grade and the effectiveness and how hard he is to get to the ground, I think it will easily transfer when he gets to the Big 12. He follows Eric Morris. He follows his quarterback, Drew Mestamaker, to Oklahoma State. We know that it's going to be air raid in principle, and they're going to design a lot of opportunities through the air. Mestamaker's going to get his for sure, but guess what that will also allow? A lot of space-eating, explosive looks for Hawkins to potentially exploit. I think if you look at this young man, his game translates at every level. It's not going to be an issue, I think, for him going from North Texas to Oklahoma State. I think he is going to be every bit as productive this year, assuming he's healthy from start to finish, as he was a year ago. Now we get into our top 5, and this was where it gets very difficult, by the way. We will start at number 5 with L.J. Martin of BYU. This guy is a hammer. I mean, that's the only way to describe him. I mean, he is so tough to bring down and consistently is running through tacklers, would-be tacklers. He had 893 yards last year after contact. He had over 1,300 yards as a whole and 12 touchdowns. Also was very, very good catching the ball out of the backfield as well. And if you look kind of what happened the final 5 games of the year, he's a little bit banged up, had a shoulder injury. This guy's 6'2", 220 pounds. I mean, he is built like a bowling ball that went to the gym for the last 4 years, 10 hours a day. And he led the Big 12 in rushing yards and forced missed tackles. And the after the contact numbers, man, that's to me what separates the good from the great. After you get hit, what's your contact balance look like? How can you continue to churn forward? How can you fall forward in a short yardage situation? Well, that's what L.J. Martin did consistently, time and time again. Just when you think the play is over, it's not over when he has the ball in his hands. Now, he did have surgery in December, did not participate in spring contact drills, but it sounds like he's going to be 100% by mid-May and will be officially cleared for contact in early June. That means Martin's just a handful of days away from being fully cleared. He's just 1,350 yards away from breaking BYU's all-time rushing record. This guy's a senior, and he has led BYU in rushing for 3 consecutive seasons. He has never not delivered. So I think if you look at where L.J. Martin is, he's a problem. I mean, a big problem for every single defender that comes to make a tackle on him. So look at BYU, everybody that's back, you have a backfield weapon that the offense will be designed around. Most defensive coordinators will have a difficult time preparing for this. So BYU's season, it runs through L.J. Martin. If he's healthy, he's motivated, and he right now lands at number 5 with the arrow pointing up for the BYU Cougar running back. At number 4, it's Mark Fletcher from Miami. Now, you look at his numbers last year. I think there is a real argument that he should be a little bit higher given the way he finished. Because if you look at the college football playoff and the performance in the college football playoff, he was off the charts. I mean, 500 plus rushing yards across 4 playoff games at nearly 7 yards per carry. He did it against A&M, did it against Ohio State, did it against Indiana, and obviously did it against Ole Miss. So to do it against top-tier competition, to have your best performance against the best the sport has to offer, that's pretty impressive. Because every back that we've listed so far has a remarkable regular season resume. Okay, everyone can acknowledge that. But to have the college football playoff single postseason rushing record, that's not a stat against directional schools, right? To go for 172 against A&M, that's an 11-1 team, is pretty impressive. To go for 130 and change against Ole Miss in the Fiesta Bowl, to have 2 second-half touchdowns in the national championship game, that's pretty amazing. And he comes back from all of that. He decides to pass on the NFL draft, says he wants to play just one more. He wants that opportunity to take the ball and just be the man as a senior. He shows up to spring practice and was at the podium day 1. And he's got a new quarterback in Darian Mensah, who threw for nearly 4,000 yards last year. And we know that the defense is going to have to account for what might be an improved passing attack. They're going to have to account for Malachi Toney. Guess what? The running lanes are going to be open. And there is a little bit of turnover along the offensive line. But you listen to everybody that's watched Fletcher this year, sounds like he's on a mission. This guy is right now at number 4. He won't leave the top 10, assuming he gets the touches that I think he's going to get this season. At number 3, it's Jaden Baugh from the Florida Gators. Now, you look at what was a very disappointing season for Florida last year. And I keep coming back to this. When I watch this young man play, he's violent. I mean, he's aggressive. We know that. We know he's super physical. This guy is violent at 231 pounds. This guy he looks like a linebacker running the football. He really punishes people who choose to meet him in the hole. But the funny thing is, at 231 pounds, you'd expect him to be a downhill power back. Well, he actually has a lot of wiggle as well. So if you try to arm tackle this young man, you're going to have a very difficult time. And now if you look at the 2026 Florida situation, throughout spring, the new offensive coordinator, Buster Faulkner, they're running a bunch of different formations. They're using multiple running backs. Running backs are out there lined up as wide receivers. You see empty formations involving running backs. You see wildcat packages with Baugh receiving a direct snap. The phrase that's being used inside the program is run the Baugh. B-A-U-G-H. Makes sense, right? Understandably. Look at what Buster Faulkner did the last couple of years at Georgia Tech. They run the ball unbelievably well. He creates run lanes. And there is a little uncertainty at quarterback right now. There's a battle going on right now between Tramel Jones and Aaron Philo. Philo transferred from Georgia Tech with Faulkner this offseason. So that thing's still being unresolved. But the one thing that's not when it comes to the Florida backfield, that's Jaden Baugh. Doesn't necessarily need to have a super clean quarterback situation to be great. He didn't have it a year ago, and he was just fine. He just needs carries, and he's going to get them. If you look at how valuable he's been over the last couple of years, I'm not sure you could find a more valuable player to the Florida Gator offense. Super productive, super valuable, and he lands right now at number 3 on our list of top running backs in the sport. At number 2, it's Kejuan Lacey from Ole Miss. 24 touchdowns last year, 306 carries. Think about that. That's the most carries by any player in college football last year, and to average over 5 yards per carry on those 306 carries tells you an awful lot. You listen to Pete Golding, who talked glowingly about his quarterback all throughout the offseason. He also kind of mentioned the fact that maybe not a lot of people are talking enough about our running back. The guy's an All-American, and he's going to get a lot of attention. With those two guys in the backfield, there's going to be a lot of very clean looks for Kejuan Lacey. Now, it's a new offensive coordinator in John David Baker, who was not a part of last year's scheme, but it's going to be a very similar offense to what Charlie Weiss installed last season. Baker steps in. The system might shift just ever so slightly, but we know what they're going to do. They're going to feature Kejuan Lacey, not just as a runner, but also as a guy that's going to get touches out of the backfield as a pass catcher as well. I mean, Ole Miss is deliberately managing Lacey's workload this year. They added some depth to running back. They added 3 new backs this offseason to hopefully reduce his carries from 306 down to something that maybe a little bit more sustainable, which will keep Lacey fresh through the second half of what should be a grueling SEC schedule. And say he has 250 carries instead of 306, which sounds like that's the plan. Does that potentially cap how many touchdowns he scores? Perhaps. But it might also mean that in November, potentially December, if all things go to plan for the Rebels, then he could be playing his very best football. Kejuan Lacey is one of the best backs in the sport. And if his workload can reduce and his production can sustain, he'll be able to prove that week in and week out here in 2026. At number 1, it's Ahmad Hardy of the Missouri Tigers. Now, I want to stop the countdown just for a moment and talk about this plainly because there is a little bit of news, right? He was shot in the upper leg at an outdoor concert in Laurel, Mississippi. He underwent emergency surgery that same day. He was released from the hospital, and he's now back on campus in Como to begin his rehab process. And if you listen to Eli Drinkwitz, he says that he's been discharged from the hospital. He's back. He's working on a recovery. There is an opportunity that he'll be back this year. There's an opportunity that he couldn't be back this year. We won't know the answers to that for a couple weeks. But here's the honest truth when it came to this ranking. And we grappled with this. We were trying to figure out how should we handle this situation. We don't know right now if Ahmad Hardy will be available for the Missouri Tigers in 2026. But here's where I land on this. The ranking stays. Ahmad Hardy is the best running back in college football heading into 2026. That's a statement about who he is and what he proved last year. It's not diminished by what happened a few weeks ago. He grew up in Mississippi, a small town, goes to Louisiana Monroe as a true freshman, goes for over 1,300 yards and 13 touchdowns, transfers to Missouri. Everyone's wondering, all right, well, will he be able to take the step up from Louisiana Monroe to the SEC? Well, he just goes out and sets the program's all-time single-season rushing record with 1,649 yards. He forced nearly triple-digit missed tackles with 97. He led the country in yards after contact, both in receiving and in rushing. He ran for over 300 yards against Mississippi State. That's the third highest single-game rushing total in SEC history, behind only Darren McFadden and Trey Mason. He was a consensus first-team All-American, and he's just 20 years old. Ahmad Hardy knows that he's in a great position, assuming he can return this year, and we're certainly hopeful for that. We are very, very hopeful, genuinely, as people, that the next chapter of the Ahmad Hardy story is written on the football field this year. That's why what transpired in the offseason does not affect our ranking. Ahmad Hardy earned it. He is the top running back in college football coming into this year.
That was our listen-in, Greg McElroy from his Always College Football podcast. That was the top 10 running backs for 2026. Now, we already heard top 10 quarterbacks. We heard top 10 wide receivers. That was top 10 running backs. And again, it'll go into the summer, top 10 by position. Again, he loves to talk ball. He's got facts. He does mix in some opinions, insiders he's talked to, and I think it helps us get ready. And today, when we're celebrating 100 days till college football 2026, I thought it was actually really appropriate. When we come back, we're done with the lunch hour of the Louie Bellina Show. And lunchtime, oh yeah, thanks to Rudy's Barbecue.
Your home for the Houston Astros is Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
It is the Louie Bellina Show. It is the Louie Bellina Show presented by CC Electric. I kind of want to wrap things up. Not a lot of time, but the lifestyles portion. On this day, May 21st in history. We do it from time to time. When something hits me, strikes me, just cool. On this day, 145 years ago, so that would be 1881, the American Red Cross was founded by Clara Barton in Washington, D.C. That was 145 years ago in 1881. On this day, May 21st in 1901, so that's 125 years ago, it was a dark day for people like me that feel the need for speed. It was a dark day for Georgia football in 1901, 125 years ago. In 1901, Connecticut became the first state to impose a speed limit for cars. The new law restricted the horseless carriage to 12 miles per hour within city limits and 15 miles per hour on country highways. So on this day, 125 years ago, in 1901, the first speed limit for cars. Dark day. In 1971, that's a lie. In 1917, May 21st, 1917, so 109 years ago, the Great Atlanta Fire began at 12 noon. On this day in 1955, May 21st, 1955, 71 years ago, Chuck Berry recorded Maybelline, and it was his first hit. Finally, on this day, May 21st, 46 years ago. So that was 1980. When I realized that 1980 was 46 years ago, man, I feel like I need to lay down. I'm a child of the 80s. The 80s was good. The 80s was glorious. But in 1980, Empire Strikes Back opened in the UK and some US theaters. Mandalorian and Grogu opens up tonight too, I think, or did it open Wednesday? Star Wars forever. Amen. It's the Louie Bellina Show. I'll be back with Tony Catalina.